even have nothing to be talking to y'all about. I'm just on here. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. What's today? February the 1st, February the 2nd. Y'all know I already got on my pink. Nails is pink. And then got the little cat eye. Okay, girl. I just got done reading chapter 3 in our book, Biblical Parenting. I just got done reading chapter 3, which was law. I really need to get my tripod so I can just create some distance in between me and you, okay? I am thinking to get into these pork chops, girl. I don't know how I'm going to cook them, but basically, I just added some pickle juice and some water, put some ice on them, and let them sit overnight in the refrigerator. I had watched Cooking with AB. I'm always watching Cooking with AB. I'm always watching Mr. Make It Happen on YouTube. I'm always watching Island Vibe Cooking. I pretty much just toggle between those three people because I like watching people, cook with different ingredients, like different, fruits, different flavors, different zests. Okay. Happy Saturday, by the way, y'all. I'm trying to get it together, what I'm gonna be talking to y'all about in February. Like, I got blogs to post, but in 2025 I really wanted to be a little bit more intentional about what I was talking to you girls about, making sure that I actually had information of substance to be talking to y'all about, and not just get on here blabbing, yapping, and showing what it is that I do on a daily basis. That's just like what y'all do on a daily basis. Unless y'all want to see that, then girl, just let me know. Happy Sunday, y'all. It is like 70 degrees, or it's gonna be like 65, 70 degrees here today in Memphis. I am literally like so excited, y'all. That cold weather is just not for me. The cold weather is not for me. This warm weather is already got me feeling good, girl. I'm already ready to go to the beach. I did my hair yesterday off camera. I had ran up to the Dollar General store and got another bottle of that Jamaican black castor oil Shea Moisture Strengthen and Repair Conditioner, because I still had shampoo, but I ran out of conditioner, which I always run out of conditioner first. What, baby?
I have a water gun.
Say hey, Tatum.
Hey, Mom. I have a water gun.
You have a water gun?
Yeah, for you play the water gun, you better go outside.
To play with the water gun, you have to go outside? Yeah, because I just mopped the floor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're not going to be doing it. Hey, y'all, I'm just supposed to be going to figure out how I'm going to cook the pork chops, because I could bake them, Dad.
Yeah, you could.
Dad talking about some, yeah, you could.
And I'm going to eat them.
And I'm going to eat them. So, I guess I got to pull up Mr. Make It Happen. And see.
Ain't no shake and bake up there?
Shake and bake. You did make some shake and bake one time, and they was pretty good, but I ain't never made no shake and bake, Dad.
Yeah, you gonna put them on 350, 400.
What's the shake and bake? Is that this? Kentucky Colonel?
It got shake and bake on. Ain't nothing up there.
Oh, shake and bake say shake and bake. I thought we had another shake and bake, or you must have used it the last time you made
I
it.
ain't bought no more once, yeah.
Cause I ain't never bought no shake and bake.
Oh, it's all good.
It's some panko crust up here. That's the same thing, ain't it?
I don't know about that now.
Whew.
Just some regular pudding thing, please. All right.
Okay, y'all. Let me BRB because, and if my mouth is looking greasy, y'all already know what the deal is. Mouth is looking greasy. Yes, it is, because I got Vaseline on my face. I am just loving this haircut. I cannot get enough of this haircut. I know you guys are tired of me talking about this haircut. Baby, I cannot get enough of this haircut. And I have not got a retouch since I had the relaxer, or got the relaxer in November of last year. So it's definitely time for me to get a relaxer. Look at the cute cat eye on my nails. We got the last set removed off, so we got those soaked off. And I got another set, full set dip with a tip. Okay, so I normally like to just wear my natural nails just like really low. I clip them extremely low, really, really low. I put a tip on. This is dip, and I definitely can say that I feel like dip just makes my fingernails like 2% stronger. Then the acrylic, when I have to like soak off the acrylic and they have to like drill my nail down, I already tell them, you know, just like keep it light with the drill, but it literally feels like it's only like one layer of my nail on when I get the acrylic. And I can say, I mean, I guess they say like dip is supposed to have like an extra vitamin in it, some extra vitamins, or dip is supposed to like, I don't know. I cannot tell like a humongous difference between the acrylic and the dip, but I can say that, you know, between me taking additional vitamin D, keeping up with my supplements, getting the dip, and what you doing, Pootie?
There's some more water.
You want to get some right here?
Oh, this one right there.
Okay. Well, your stool in here. I'm just letting you know. FYI. FYI. Between all of that and the dip, you know, I just feel like it's like 2% stronger when they have to put the drill on there, meaning that it doesn't feel like the drill is about to drill through the last layer of my nail and, you know, just hit the skin. So anyway, let me figure out how I'm gonna do the pork chops. It's Sunday, girl. And no, I did just pull out my camera just to start talking to you guys and don't even know. I guess we could just talk about chapter 3 and get into that. So let me just get the whoop-de-whoop going on, girl. And I'm gonna take y'all with me, and I hope y'all enjoy this apparently daily vlog, girl. Not day in the life, girl. Day in the life vlog. Oh, and we did not go to church today because Jace has flu. Yeah, so we'll get into all of that, girl. Because she just had some that just looked like regular pork chops. So this is what we looking like. Y'all know how pork chops look, okay? I had got on cooking with AB, but it looked like he had some lemon parmesan, lemon pepper, something like that. I just wanted some regular. So I got these in the oven on 350, and we're gonna just do that for 25 minutes, and then I'll let them broil for 10 minutes, and then I will let them caramelize for 5 minutes. And while that's doing that, I'm finna eat me some chili, because I made some chili the other day. Look at these pictures of me. That's my sister and my cousin. I don't know who them folks is. That's me and my daddy again. Not your girl in the clothes basket. Look at young Malone. Oh my God. That's my mama. Yeah, we about the same size. Look at mom's. Yeah, the girl was cute girl. Waist was wasted girl. Head full of hair girl. Not the proper color girl with the accessories. Yes, ma'am. That's was your girl on her 3rd birthday. I think I only had 1 birthday party. My auntie, my sister, my cousin, Neil. What's up, girl? I don't think nobody did to her that day. That's okay, Lord. All right, baby. Look, this is all my daddy's sisters. This is my auntie Kim, my aunt Paula, my aunt Regina, my daddy, my aunt Corliss, my auntie Inez. All them dead. All of them is deceased. Only my auntie Kim, my daddy is alive still to this day. Oh, we had just found these pictures. My Uncle Marshall, he died too. Me and my mama at my birthday party. Yeah, so this was so cute. And that's Bernard. Hey, Bernard. I have to cook with a timer. Because if I do not cook with a timer, stuff will be then burnt up. Like, if I don't cook with a timer, I swear I know what I'm doing. And the stuff will come out burnt and dry. And everybody will just be dissatisfied. All of that in my food. I'm gonna sit down and eat my chili. Eat my chili, Lord. Eat your chili. Okay. Ew. Little flyaway. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this food that we're about to receive. May you please bless it for the nourishment of our body. Thank you so much, God, for being our sustainer. Thank you, God, for being our protector. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Bless the food a little quick. Bless the food really quickly. Finna see what's on. See what the girls got on YouTube today. Cause baby, I see they coming for that Sunday spot, girl. I see they coming for that Sunday spot. What's all that racket? Surely they're not playing it on my radio. You right every time. What did I tell y'all? Girl, I told you Island Vibe is gonna get you right every time. So that's out of the oven after they have caramelized a little bit. Gonna get some of this juice. Just sprinkle that on there. Let them set a little bit. Y'all, and I actually got these pork chops from Walmart. These definitely worth some. Now, it's not like that every time because first of all, I'm not really even near a Walmart like that for real. I'm closer to a Kroger, which is typically where I get all of my meats normally. Pretty much where I get all my groceries anyway. But honestly, I don't like to get paper towels and stuff from Kroger. So I did make a trip to Walmart, and while I was there, these pork chops actually had looked really good, I'm not gonna lie. And so I went ahead and grabbed a pack, went ahead, watched Island Vibe cooking. It was real simple, wasn't too many seasonings. So just pulled them out the oven. So that's gonna do that. I may make my daddy a baked potato. Got some mixed veggies over here because the boys are going to eat that. They love mixed veggies. I can turn that down a little bit. Real simple with that. Just put in some butter and they just gonna eat it just like that. I'll cook my daddy's either some mashed potatoes or a baked potato and whatever else other veggie he want. He probably gonna want some northern beans. But yes, girl, Island Vibe cooking gonna get you right every single time. Okay, y'all. Whew. Let's go ahead and get comfortable. Y'all know what we already here to do. Okay, so Y'all seen me do the pork chops. Y'all seen me outside with the boys. Y'all seen all of that. So before we close this one out, I just wanted to hop on here really quickly and just give you guys these notes from our third principle of our book. And again, guys, this is our book called Parenting by Paul David Tripp. And so anyway, girl, basically the third principle, which is 14 biblical principles, if you guys have been keeping up with the series, but principle number 3 is called law. And so principle number 1 was calling, and then principle number 2 was grace, and now it's law. And so the third principle, which is basically centered around God's law, but it lets us know that God's law is not supposed to like replace his grace. So let me just read it, okay? So it says, your children needs God's law, but you cannot ask the law to do what only grace can accomplish. And then it says, if rules and regulations had the power to change the heart and life, rescuing your children from himself and giving him a heart of submission and faith, then Jesus would have never needed to even come back. You see, what you assign the power of change to will then shape the way that you parent your children in all of those mundane and not so mundane moments that end up forming who they are as they leave your home. So a lot of that was just, really important because, he's in this section. I feel like he focuses a little bit more on like adolescents or like teens, but, it's still practical to, children, infants, toddlers. He makes it relatable to wherever you are in your parenting stage. But, just the whole idea that, God's law is important, but that the laws really cannot replace or take the place of grace in life, cannot take the place of God's grace, cannot take the place of our parenting, in life. Basically just the rules are there because, just like us, our kids are born into this world as sinners. So, basically, and then he gives us like a big long list of these things that sin causes the children to do. Let me get that for you guys. So basically, sin makes our children like resist authority, and it gets in the way of the kids wanting to learn at school. Sin is the reason that kids always like bicker with their siblings. Sin attracts us to what's basically like hurtful and destructive. And sin is the reason that our kids are entitled and demanding, and that we think that the world is like centered around us, and causes us to be materialistic, causes us to complain, just like all of these things. But he really just kind of lets us know that apart from God's law, human beings wouldn't even have a clue like how they were supposed to think, or the things that we're supposed to desire, like how we're supposed to speak, or how we're designed to even behave. So, he's just letting us know, like, without this law, like, we wouldn't even know, what to think. We wouldn't even know what to believe. We wouldn't even know basically how to operate and maneuver within our day-to-day life if we did not have some sort of type of law to adhere to. He gives us scripture and he lets us know, and I think this one is from Romans, or not I think, but it is from Romans. And the Apostle Paul asks us, what shall we then say? That the law is sin? By no means. Yet if it had not been for the law, then I would have not have even known sin. For I would not have known what it is to covet if the law had not said, you shall not covet, right? So basically just saying, if the law did not exist, if there, were not these, commandments, or, even just laws of the land, laws in general, if we didn't even have something that said that, this is the way that you should live, these are the desires that you should want, this is, how you should, speak, very fruitful, very, abundant speaking speech. If, you shouldn't, like, I don't know, like commit adultery, you shouldn't, like just all of these things. Like if there was not even that even existed in the world, then we would not even know that we were even sinning, basically. It's kind of where what that leads to. And it lets us know, it says God's law is the guide of what is clearly right and what is clearly wrong. And so the law is also meant to protect us from ourselves, since children were, also brought into the world as sinners, like we just mentioned, where the law gives guiding and protecting wisdom that we would not have without it. The law is also good for your children. It provides them with grace of conviction. So we would not know that we are sinners without the conviction and standard of God's law. Children basically have to have, certain margins to work within. They have to have, it says specifically children need to be given tracks to run on and boundaries to stay inside of. So, this chapter was very clear about how children, basically parenting within the guidelines, right? We have law, and we should, parent, and we should discipline, and we should, hold our kids to certain standards, or we should, parent, or we should, practice or by this abiding law or whatever. But just in addition to that, or separately from that, that the law cannot change our children's hearts, right? The law is just simply there to clearly paint the picture between this is right and this is wrong, okay? And then you should live somewhere in the middle. You should operate somewhere in between those two extremes. But it's really clear about how we nor our kids, should be maneuvering through life, being led by our own selfish desires, by our own thoughts. It says, we nor children were created to be governed by our own thoughts and desires. So it says a child is blind to the depths of his own spiritual needs. And a child who does not see himself clearly will resist his parents, resist the parents' wisdom, resist the parents' guidance, resist discipline and correction. And the law is good about exposing not only our behavior, but our hearts as well. So God's law is the ultimate human measuring system. And because of it, or because that it is, it's good for our children to be regularly exposed to it. I guess day by day. But I just kind of wanted to stop there, because even just thinking about me in college, me in high school leading into college, a little bit out of college, just, really being, so not on track. But let's just focus on high school. Because it says a child who does not see himself clearly. So we did a whole series on, how to pick yourself back up, knowing who you are, being assertive, living purposefully, living, with integrity, taking responsibility, all those things. And really, coming back around to who that you are, right? All of those little seed deposits that, were given to us, who we really were created to be, by God. That is who we really are, who we are at the core, our core values, all of those little things that are inside of us that make us uniquely different, but, really represent who we are. I can definitely attest to that. I can remember very specifically, being in high school, just really not being woke, as they say, to who I was. So whether that was, I think one day I decided to skip class, and just doing things that were really just not aligned with the person that's sitting right here in front of you today, okay, talking to you on this camera. Okay, so basically just chopping it up to everything that we did as teenagers that we look back and be like, why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? Why did I do that? That was not aligned with who I am today. Whether that was, getting into a fight, arguing at school, ISS, OSS, whatever you want to call it, just not, not being aligned with who you are. So I can definitely attest to that, and while we are parents, being able to extend that same grace back to our children. So he gives a really specific example. He gives a couple of examples, but basically just honing in on when he said that what you give your power to determine basically your kids to right your kids wrong, whatever you give that power to to right your kids wrong is pretty much ultimately what's going to govern, basically how that kid is raised. So, if you are, or if we are, if I am, yelling at my kids, because they're being too loud, they spill juice on the floor, they are fighting with one another, they don't want to do their homework, they're like, these are real life examples that I have to deal with as a mom with my kids. But what are you going to lead with? Are you going to lead with grace? Are you going to call into the Lord? Are you going to let that law get in the way of being patient, being kind, being understanding, being forgiving? Or are you going to do the latter, which is really operating within the fruit? But something that he and let me make sure I read that correctly for you guys. What you assign the power of change to will then shape the way that you parent your children in all of those mundane situations. So what you assign the power of change to. So I'm glad I went back and gave it to you like that, because that's what our principle is. And I'll read it again for you guys, that your children need God law, but you cannot ask the law to do what only grace can accomplish. So while we do have those laws in place, and while it's very clear that our kids need those laws and need those margins to operate in, to know what is clearly right and what is clearly wrong, and to know what we should desire. So pretty much just kind of talking about if you give that power to discipline or the law. I think they give several examples, but they give an example about a son who spent a lot of time with his homeboy, and then come to find out they start liking each other. So him and the dude start liking each other. Okay, read between the lines. And how the parents just didn't flip out, but how they took his phone away, made his curfew earlier, so he had to start coming in the house earlier. How they limited, physical, or how often he and the, homeboy could see each other. How they, put, parental, like screenings on all of his electronics, and all of the ways he engaged with social media, and how he and then it talks about what that did to the individual. That is our self-governing law that we create as parents. So let's get into that, because that was really good, because he talks about how a lot of Christian parents automatically kind of go into that drive and start bringing out all of the tools, right? The punishment, the taking away stuff, the you can't hang out with this person, going the extra mile to reading text messages, putting just kind of all of those things. He didn't say reading text messages, so let me stick to exactly what he said before I be trying to make some stuff up. Okay, he didn't say reading text messages, so let me get into exactly what he said, because basically the whole consensus behind that was, we as parents, instead of how we parent should be with grace in addition to the law, basically, and that the law can never replace grace, because only God's grace is able to change us inside out, change the heart, the posture of the heart, to truly transform an individual. Like the way that we govern our kids and parent our kids from that lawful perspective is never going to replace God's grace and the work that he does within our heart. And that's basically what he's saying. We as parents tend to replace God's perfect law with our own law, our craving for affirmation, control, success, reputation. We make selfish, impatient, and angry demands on our children, treating them, as indentured servants, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, in order to make our own lives more comfortable. So we get mad at our kids, not because they are breaking God's law, but because they're in the way of our own law, something that we want. So he calls our law out, the parents' law, basically just something that we want, whether that is patience, quiet time, whether that is, just something that gets in the way of success, your money, being able to focus, in peace on the job, just whatever it is that gets in the way of us parenting and being parents to our children. So, and I'll read that again because, girl, that was so good. We as parents tend to replace God's perfect law with our own law, our craving for affirmation, control, peace, success, reputation. We make selfish, impatient, and angry demands on our children to make our own lives more comfortable. So I would say that today was probably a good parenting day for me because I didn't really yell at my kids. I think a lot of the times I go to bed, feeling like a bad mom, or saying, or having bad mom days, because basically for me, and I'll just speak on behalf of myself, is really just the impatience. It's impatience, it's irritation, and it is, me wanting peace and me trying to make sure that everything is in a time slot, even though I've gained so much patience for things that may fall out of the time slot or things that do not get done within the allotted amount of time that I've already set aside to do that specific thing. Some things may spill over. Sometimes I may have to switch things around, but ultimately on a bad day, what that looks like for me is, being really short, being really impatient. And that's exactly what this point is talking about. Like, those are my cravings. Those are the things that I desire. Those are the desires of my heart for me to, hurry up and get done doing what it is that I have to do for this. And hopefully it doesn't spill over into something else that I have to do, because if that spills over, then this spills over, then now I'm late for dishes, and then, I have to wash my face and do self-care, then all the things, right? And so in those itty bitty daily moments, I could really, be short and impatient with my kids, and if it goes too long throughout the day, then boom, now I'm yelling again. So that is exactly, and I could just use myself for an example, okay? So that is exactly what he's talking about in this moment, in this particular point in the chapter. Which is also why I think that last chapter was so important about grace, because, constantly reminding us as parents that we constantly need God's grace. We cannot do this job without him. We were created, or it was not intended for us to do this job without him. The job was created so that we would be able to rely on him, needing to, call upon God, rely on him, fall back on him, need his wisdom, need his guidance, need his grace, need his mercy, so that we can give it back to our children. And then moving into this chapter, which is, we do have law, and law does exist, and law gives us a standard to try to aim towards, but that, don't get it twisted, because it's never going to replace or take the place of you being a parent. So all the chores, all the yelling, all the, whoopings, all the timeouts, all the taps, all the spankings, all the, consequences, taking things away, punishment, whatever you want to call it, all of that is never going to really get in the way of what it is that our kids really need at the end of the day, which is true transformation. And that only comes by way of God, Jesus Christ, and, change within our heart posture. And it says that, without the intervention of God's grace, our children would not even become who they are supposed to be, or do what they are even supposed to do. And remember that it's sin inside of our children that kind of just messes everything up. And so that just kind of goes back around to the point of, the days when I was skipping school, or skip school, because baby, that didn't happen too many times, okay? My parents definitely parented with that law, okay? That parent law, they definitely practiced. That was how I got parented, okay? But so it wasn't no too many days of skipping school. But there were some other things as well, right? Especially, being a teenage girl. Y'all know how that go if you were a teenage girl, or even, being smart, or talking back to your parents, talking back to your mom, just kept copping a little attitude real quick. So, kind of just all of those things. And so that is just what it's talking about. But I think that was really so important, because if I think back, and, God doesn't waste any example. God doesn't waste any time. There was no time that was wasted. He can make up for everything, right? when it says that without God's intervention, without his intervention of grace, right, our children would not even be who they are supposed to be. I definitely think that things that I went through, and you guys let me know, comment down below and you guys let me know. I definitely think that the things that I went through in my life, whether that was, times of rebellion, times of heartbreak, times of just not listening, times of me thinking that I knew it all. And it says that in this chapter too, it says that children are defiant. Children, don't listen or obey authority because they feel like they don't need it, right? And I don't really necessarily recall me feeling like I didn't need it. Just, I don't even know how to really put words to it. So maybe I will just say that. But just if I had not gone through those things, if those things had not have happened in my life, then I would have not I would not be sitting here today talking to you guys about that stuff, because that stuff would have never happened and I wouldn't have ever had anything to talk to you guys about here right now. So that's what it's talking about. And so for us to just be mindful that, especially, and this is why I said I feel like he was talking to kind of parents who were dealing with teenagers, adolescents, preteens kind of right now, for us to remember, what we went through, and to be in expectation of our kids to go through the same, or go through something similar, or go through whatever it is that's going to be personal and unique to them and their experience that we may not have gone through, but to also be able to recall that we did go through something and that we were forgiven, that a lot of us were transformed, and that we're still being transformed every single day, that God is still constantly doing a work within us every single day. And so kind of to remember all of that. He gives several examples. We already went through these, but children can say hurtful things to their parents and siblings and peers, and it is sin that causes that. And we were born into this world as sinners, and that sin makes parenting difficult, demanding, and exhausting. So that just lets us know that, in a fallen world, parenting is exhausting, it's demanding, it's uncomfortable, it's a lot of things. But I don't think that was probably maybe the way that it was supposed to be. I don't know, girl. It says parents are called to enforce God's law in the lives of their children, and to constantly exhibit and teach God's grace to them as well. So, model behavior, which is something that yeah, this is so difficult. It just even be difficult to even talk about, because not am I trying to act like I am the perfect person or the perfect parent. By all means, I am not. I'm trying to seek tools and seek help so that, I can help myself. And I'm just talking to y'all about it. Maybe this affects you guys. Maybe you guys are going through this or not. But, I'm trying to sit and think about, are there times where I could exhibit more grace? I feel like my kids are so young right now that a lot of my parenting is lawful. And I also think that a lot of that was the way that I was raised. I do think that I could do a lot of things better. My patience has come a long way. I know that I have a lot more to go in that area. But I think just me being more kind to my children, me being more loving to my children, and me continuing to look at parenting through the lens of I'm a sinner and they were brought into this world as sinners, so they're gonna make mistakes, they're gonna be loud. Parent is not gonna be a convenience, or parenting is not going to be, a convenience. So I was able to kind of think through those things today, and that really, actually all this weekend, I was able to think through those things, and those things kind of really helped me, get through the day. I don't want to be mean to my kids. I don't want to go to sleep crying every single night, which if I wake up in the morning, so if it's Saturday and Sunday, so if I wake up in the morning time and so I'm mothering all day long, I'm parenting all day long, I'm being a woman all day long, I am cleaning all day long. If I'm doing that from the time I get up to the time, it's time to go to sleep, versus like Monday through Friday when I'm at work, and majority of the day the kids are at daycare, and I only really have to do those things for a window of like 4 to 5 hours. So on the longer days, by the time I get into bed, baby, I'm ready to get into bed. I'm ready for y'all to go to sleep so that I can have some me time, so I can read my book, so I can take a shower, so that I can wrap my hair up, just all the things. And any little thing that pushes that beyond, me being able to finally tap into, my time with God, me reading, me learning, those lawful kind of principles, right? Then I'm annoyed. So those are the things that I want to get better at. And it just lets us know that, it's a hard thing. So God's law and how we react to it, how we, lawfully parent our kids, is a reflection of what's in the heart. And again, that heart transformation that is done within us comes by way of God, same as the heart transformation within our kids comes by way of God as well. So we're all kids, okay? We're all kids being parented, and we're all kids having to parent, okay? So that's just kind of how I put the two together earlier when I was doing some of my studying. Which is a good point for us to move into the next piece. It says, the law has no ability to deliver your children from this mess that you have to deal with every day as a parent. So your children came into the world in desperate need of God's rescuing, forgiving, and transformation, and delivering grace. So that's how it let us know. But, I think that is really important, that it says the law has no ability to deliver you from this mess that you have to deal with every single day as a parent. Meaning that, back to what we've been talking about this whole time, the punishment, the yelling, the beating, the torment, the consequences, the timeout, the taps, the taking something away, the putting parental screenings on. None of that is going to deliver us from the exhaustion, the demanding or the demands, the difficulties of being a parent. We're going to have to endure those things. And again, it just circles all back around to, just heart transformation. As we as parents need to be rescued from our addiction to the law of our comfort, pleasure, success, and control. Oh, y'all, I forgot control. That's a big one for me. It's not our children's sin that is in the way of good parenting. It's our tendency to make parenting about our little kingdom of wants, needs, and desires, and our tendencies to want our children to serve the purpose of our kingdom rather than submit to the purposes of God's kingdom. So that's that like parental law that I was telling you about. And in our allegiance to our law, we end up breaking God's law in our interactions with our children. And so that's what I was talking about. That is, how we still operate out of sin. That he was mentioning that a lot of Christian parents do when we try to, or when our selfish parental laws come before his laws, and then we end up breaking his laws in our everyday interactions with our children, the yelling, all the things that we were talking about. So, and it just talks about, model behavior, so that we should live and model grace for our children every single day. Is that it? Yeah, it is it for this chapter. And all these little scribbles in my notebook are from Tatum. Tatum scribbled all of this in my notebook, and girl, I just wrote right over it, and even just something as simple like Tatum scribbling in my notebook. Like, y'all, I have so much stuff in this notebook. This notebook is like a business planner. It's like my diary. It's how I plan out my content. It is, the prayers that I write to God. I probably should have separate journals for this, but I don't. So anyway, girl, as we kind of close it out, I just think that last point makes up the entire essence of chapter 3 law, which was, it's not our kids, and their sins that, makes bad parenting, or that makes parenting bad, or that makes, parenting, just whatever. I mean, what does it say? It's not our children's sin that is in the way of good parenting. So that's what it says specifically, that it is our tendency to make parenting about our little kingdom, wants, needs, and desires, and our tendency to want our children to serve the purpose of our kingdom rather than submit to the purposes of God's kingdom. And so back to, introducing your kids to God, having those conversations with him, having those everyday conversations, with your kids, whether they are young kids, adolescents, teens, whatever it is, and to never stop parenting them, talking about God, in that way, and to not let little bitty things like kids spilling Gatorade on the floor and them scribbling in your notebook, and you not being able to think in peace, just all of those things, not pushing your parenting off on other people, or just a lack thereof, not parenting at all. Like letting your kids play on their iPads literally all day long when you guys know that there are things to be working on, and you're and this is not every single day, this is not all the time, but just I don't mind taking onus, okay? That's why I went and picked up this book, and him just letting us know that we as parents, should not let our own selfish wants, desires, and needs get in the way of being a good parent. And if I had to sit back and think, then yeah, a lot of the things that I want, how I want them to happen, that's that control, when I want them to happen, how I think they should look, how I think things should go, the way I was raised, like all of those things play a factor. And all of those things also are the reason or contribute to why I go to bed at night crying because I think I'm a bad mom, or I feel like a bad mom. And so guys, I'm really trying to work on that. I just wanted to share that with you for today. So hopefully I gave y'all a proper introduction earlier in the video. And if not, girl, please be sure to leave a comment, share the video, like, subscribe, join the community. Happy to have you guys here. We're gonna have more of these videos coming up soon. And girl, that is it for today. I'm about to wrap my hair up, do some skincare, and work with Tatum on his writing, girl. It was so good talking to you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.